Hello students, today we will be going over 5.1, Intro to Inequalities. This is page 106 in the green packet. Most of you should have your green packet already. There are a few extras on the back counter if you need them. Okay. Our objective today is I can write and graph inequalities. And it says to practice, identify the symbol that corresponds to the phrase all of those, greater than, less than, equal to, or whatever. So the first one says is greater than. So which symbol is it? Greater than. That's it. Next one is at least. If something is at least something, it's greater than or equal to something. So again, at least is greater than or equal to. Number 3, 5 is less than or equal to 5. So we need to write less than or equal to right there. And this is what you should be writing in your on your green packet. Is no less than. 4 is no less than 1. No less than means it's going to be greater than or equal to. Okay, these are kind of backwards, this one and I think this one, because at least you think it's going to be less than, but you actually put greater than or equal to. Is no less than, you think is going to be a less than sign, but it's actually greater than or equal to. Number 5, 2 exceeds negative 2, so it's greater than negative 2. Negative 8 is less than 5, just that sign. 7 is more than, so you have negative 2 is more than negative 3. Okay. Why don't you try and do 7 and 8? Go ahead and pause the video and do 7 and 8. Is more than. The next one, 0, is at most 0. It's greater than or equal to 0, and that's what you put there. Okay, now we're going to go on to number 9. The instructions on number 9 say write an inequality for each sentence. Okay, hopefully you can see that okay. All right, more than 85 people attended the play. So we know the people, we're going to use the variable P, greater than, because we have more than 85. And that's all you have to do. Now, Stan's earnings, it gets a little more complicated here. At $11.50 per hour, we're at least, and we can go back to our other page or look at the top and see what at least is. At least, you know you're going to have that sign by going back to number 2 and seeing that. So if it's at least, we can say that Stan earnings, $11.50 per hour. And I'm going to use H for per hour. It's going to be at least, so that means it's greater than or equal to $175. Okay. And it doesn't say to solve or anything. We're just writing the sentence. Okay. Number 11, a savings account increased by $70 is now more than $400. So again, we can go back to here. And we find more than we see is right here. So it's the greater than sign right there. Hopefully you can see that okay without the glare. Oops. Okay. So if savings account is increased by, so we add $70 to that, and we know it's at least, so it's got to be greater than, or it's now more than $400. There you go. Okay. Number 12, the 10-kilometer race time of 84 minutes was at least twice as long as the winner's time. So we say 84 is at least. So again, if we want to look at least, so it's greater than or equal to twice, so it's 2 times the winner's time. And again, we don't have to solve it. We're just writing the inequalities. Okay, number 13. For the given value, state whether each inequality is true or false. So they give us this inequality, just means it has one of these in it. B equals 5. So if I put 5 in for B, does that make this inequality true or false? 7 minus 5 is 2. Is 2 less than 3? And the answer is yes, so that's true. So you work it out, show your work, and then put true or false. Okay, number 14 says y divided by 8 is less than 6. Y is 64. So if I put 64 in for y, I divide by 8. Is that less than 6? 64 divided by 8 is 8. Is that getting too far down there? Is 8 less than 6? And the answer is no. So what do we write if the answer is no? It's a false statement. So we write false. You can go ahead and pause the video to do the rest of these. I'm going to jump over to the next page and help you write in graphing inequality steps. So again, go ahead and finish the rest of that page. Okay, so here's how to graph inequalities on a number line. Okay, the first thing you decide is on the number line, you're going to decide if it's an open dot circle or a closed circle. And the way I remember that, A right here, less ink, so it's going to be like that, or open circle. Okay, this one, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. See how it takes more ink or more lead to do or equal to, and it takes more lead right there, so that's a closed circle. Okay, so again, you have your number line, put the circle on the number line. Where it needs to be. Rewrite it if you need to with the variable on the left. And in fact, I think if it were me, I would probably do that number 2, and I would do this number 3. After you've already switched the variable, make sure the variable's on the left. Sometimes you may or may not need to do that. If the variable's already on the left, you don't need to switch it, okay? Number 4, draw the arrow in the direction of the inequality sign. Okay. So now we're going to practice. Our first one down here, x is greater than 5. Normally, I always put 0 on the graph. I'm going to put 5 there. That variable's already on the left, so I don't need to worry about switching anything. And if it's greater than, if I go up here, less ink there means less ink here. So I'm going to have an open dot at 5. And see how this inequality points to the right? That means I shade to the right. Okay. Next, I go on to number 6. Oh, the variable's not on the left side, so I have to switch it. So I'm going to move P over to this side. I have to switch it that direction. I still leave it -8 there. So I'm going to put 0 over there, -8. Right there, less than, again, less ink, so it's going to be an open circle at -8. And it points to the left now, so I make sure I go this direction. Then I go on to number 7. I first check to see that the variable's on the left. It is. And I put the circle on the number line. Here's my 0, -7. Now, is it an open or a closed dot? See how this has or equal to? That's going to be a closed dot. And which way do we shade? It's pointing to the left. Okay. I'll let you get the rest of these, students. You rock.